Hi, my name is Representative Sandy Hamilton, Springfield, Illinois. I'm here with Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
We are here to discuss the new law, Safety Act, that will go into effect January 1st, 2023. And folks, I'm here to tell you, there is nothing safe about this new law. I was not in the General Assembly when this law was passed back in January of 2021. I heard it was pushed through the wee hours of the night, a 799-page bill. And Jack, I'm concerned about this. We have had so many calls from constituents, emails, real estate agents are texting me and just want to know what is going on with this new law. What can we expect come January 1st?
Well, thanks for having me, and you should be concerned about it. There's so much we do not know about this law, but what we do know is on January the 1st, we're going to be releasing inmates back into the community, inmates that commit crimes for a living, and we're not sure how that's going to impact our safety other than it will be impacted.
Yeah, so I am hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm hearing kidnapping, trespassing. Somebody could just pop a tent in your backyard and we call the police, they come over, they can hand a ticket but cannot remove that person. Is that correct?
That is correct. And you know, in the past, law enforcement not only enforced the law but improved your quality of life. So even though this wasn't a particular violent crime of trespassing, it would impact your quality and your safety. So now we no longer have that ability just to remove that person and take them to prison. So now we have to just issue them a citation and hope that they leave.
Do you think this is going to cause some vigilantes? Like that just makes me so nervous. You know, I'm applying for a FOID card. I do not have one, but I am applying for one. And you know, I'll tell you, Jack, back several years ago when I graduated from the University of Illinois, I was attacked. Somebody followed me home, started asking me questions. I got very nervous, got back in the car, started hitting me, choking me. Thank God someone came out of the apartment complex and scared this person off. But let's put that now, fast forward to January 1st. What would happen to that person?
Well, it could be that they could be released. And that is the danger of this act, in that it impacts the quality of our lives and our safety. So that's something we have to work with representatives and senators like yourself, and hopefully clean up that part of this act and give our constituents out there a feeling of safety.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Was law enforcement ever at the table when this whole law started to becoming, into effect?
Right. Well, they claim that we were, and a certain portion of law enforcement was, but the bulk of law enforcement was not. And there was many things that was not told to us truthfully, and then they refused to listen to our concerns. And here we are, a year and a half after this bill was passed, it's getting ready to go into effect, and it's going to impact our lives.
Okay, so I guess another question is, and I know that there is a state representative that is repealing this, and of course I will jump on board to get on that repeal. And back in 2021, again, I was not a part of this vote, and I will tell you 100% I would have voted no for this. It feels to me that the rights are more in favor of the criminals than it is of the law-abiding citizens. Do you feel the same way?
I do. Whenever we arrest somebody, enforcing the law should be punitive and changing their mentality and their state of mind. And what they've done is they began to coddle these inmates. Overall, acts like this disastrous safety act is empowering criminals. And so every little bit where they feel like they're not held accountable, and that's what we want in law enforcement, is hold them accountable, make them post a cash bail if they commit a crime, so they have skin in the game.
Yes.
And if they don't come back to court, we can either use that money to go find them, or more likely is our victims that people forget about, that when they're given restitution, we can use that money to give back to the victim. And that's truly who's impacted here are the victims.
Okay, so can you explain to us, come January 1st in our area, Sangamon County, let's say, how many inmates will be released? And we're talking midnight. We're not talking like 6 a.m. We're talking midnight. Once the clock strikes midnight, how many will be released?
Well, we're estimating up to a third of our jail population, and that could be over 100 people who commit crimes for a living. I've ran the numbers, and just a random sampling of our inmates, 25 inmates. They averaged 25 arrests each with 9 convictions. So this is what they do for a living. So whenever they're released on or about January the 1st, then this is something that will go back into our community and commit more crimes, in our opinion.
So who gets the final say? I know that some criminals will be detained. Who gets the final say? Is it the state's attorney's office? Is it the judge? Like who gets to make that final say?
So the chief judge and the state's attorney will work hand in
Together.
hand to review their charges and determine who's eligible. There's certain classifications of crimes that are not eligible, and there's certain ones that are, and then there's a gray area. And that's our scary part is how many of those people in that gray area who are violent that will be returned to the community.
Wow. So one of my questions too is domestic violence. I have asked several law enforcement officials about this. First offense, are they back out on the streets? You know, what do you do in that situation?
Well, it is our understanding that we will be able to detain domestic violence abusers. So again, we're hoping that we're correct on this, and we'll work with the courts. You know, we've got a few months to go here to determine some of the finality of this act. And there's certain things that law enforcement is even aware of right now that we were so confused. So we know that the public is confused too.
So like you said, there's a gray area here. So I've had, like I said, many conversations with local officials here in Springfield. And according to me, my understanding is there's a list of inmates, and you have, you know, some that are highlighted red that will stay in jail. Then you have, like you said, the gray area, the yellow ones. Not sure. How do you make that decision? I mean, and how long do you have to make that decision?
Well, the court will review their criminal history and determine specifically the crime they're held for now and their past to determine are they a threat to the community, and are they charged with the crime right now that they can be detained for. So it's a very time-consuming process. It's going to require money, and it's going to cost taxpayers more money to go back and figure out if we can detain inmates that have been in there for years sometimes.
And that has to be decided by January 1st, or do you have a grace period?
We're working on it now. Our courts are working on it now because we have got to have this list ready to go on or about January the 1st.
I am floored by this. And I want to learn more and more about it, and that's why I'm having you here today, Sheriff. I just need to learn more about this and explain to our viewers what to expect come January 1st. So we're saying January 1st, midnight, possibly 100 inmates in our area are going to be released. And, you know, talk a little bit about two DUIs. Like I hear about, you know, when there's fatalities, what happens to the victims' families versus the criminal that did this? Well,
this is part of the law that we could have worked with the sponsors to tell them they need to be more specific, because a DUI is a Class A misdemeanor, but it's also a traffic offense. And we're not allowed to detain a traffic offense, but we can detain some Class A misdemeanors. So this is a confusion that we're going to need some clarification you know, from the General Assembly before we can move forward with this.
Absolutely. And it was my understanding too that this sat in, this law went, or House bill went through the 3 readings in the House, and it was passed, and then it sat in committees for 2 years. And then the final hour, it just came out in the middle of the night, and 40 minutes to read through it, and it passed, obviously. But I'll tell you, I believe that no Republicans voted for this. So, you know, folks, just be aware that January 1st, 2023, you know, be safe out there. And any questions, please contact my office. Please contact Sheriff Jack Campbell's office. And we want to hear from you. Thank you.